I have something to say about how Koenigsegg is currently the best hypercar manufacturer on the market. If you look at Koenigsegg's recent offerings, they have really kind of come with some strong and diverse cars in their lineup. Like the new CC 850, I think is what it's called, is their heritage car, I guess, for the Jesko platform, but it is styled in a way that it looks like their first car, which was the CC8. And I think that this car marks a very important turning point in the automotive industry and in hypercars. That I think that if more cars follow this formula of manual transmission and a little bit less power than it would normally have, and more of a focus on the driving experience, I think that supercars especially could benefit from this. Like I said in my last video, like they're becoming too computerized, and the computers could be helpful in the driving experience, but they could also take away from it and make you feel isolated from the car itself. And I think that Koenigsegg and the manual transmission in this car specifically, which is it isn't really a manual transmission. It's got a shifter, but it's also an automatic, and you can switch between, which is great for everyday driving. But also, you could have a proper manual to go have fun in the canyons and rip it around. And I think that this innovation in regards to the experience of driving the car is really cool to see. And I don't think that there have been a lot of manufacturers that have focused too much on this. And, while Koenigsegg has this sort of car, it's also kind of important to notice their like super crazy, super powerful, super fast efforts like the Jesko. And that, again, the technology that they infuse into their cars, like the Jesko and the Jesko Absolute, is pretty cool to see, especially because it takes more outside of the box thinking to be one of the fastest cars out there now than it did even 20 years ago. Like, you've got to have everything dialed in to such an extent on your car. And I think that they do that with the Jesko and the Jesko Absolute. And these cars are such a step up for their previous kind of top speed range topper car, which was the Agera. And I think that they're able to push boundaries, but I think they've kind of reached the end of the performance envelope, I guess, with this car. Like, you can't get much faster than the Jesko. And that's where the Koenigsegg Gemera comes in, which is, it's not 4 doors, it's 2 doors, but it's got 4 seats in it, and it's something way different than anything that's ever been put out by a major car company. And it's got, crazy horsepower, 1,500 horsepower, and it has a hybrid technology, and it has a really small engine and a hybrid powertrain to kind of focus more on emissions, but also so you can get the power, and they focus on the real small details. And it's got, heated cup holders and a lot of stuff for the convenience of the passengers, which is really cool to see in such a fast car. And I think that this direction could also be very good for Koenigsegg, and that it's different than the run-of-the-mill in air quotes, I guess, Bugattis and other hypercars, because that's just one type of car. It's just everything almost looks the same. Whereas Koenigsegg is doing something different, whereas you can buy a car that you can go 200 miles an hour with your whole family in. And the different perspective and the new thinking, I think, can really set them apart in the next few years. And also, Koenigsegg has always been an innovator in the hypercar space, and they're really focusing on EV technology, but also technology in regards to the internal combustion engine and making it more efficient, like their free valve technology, which makes it so you're able to control how much air goes into the engine, which is a little bit like direct injection for fuel. But that makes the engine more efficient, and I think that in this era of sort of electric cars, I think Koenigsegg still benefits from having a gas powertrain in many of their cars because they're such a small company still. But it's cool to see that they're not afraid to tread new and kind of uncertain ground in regards to technology. And I think that in the next 10 years, especially with them working with mainstream automakers, they can really make some leaps and bounds in technology. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you next video.